Hi guys, EBPMAN here, and in this video we're going to focus on the calling capabilities of the Gear S3 Frontier. Now the Gear Frontier does have the ability to make phone calls, especially if you've activated it with your local carrier. And as it stands right now, there are two carriers in the US that have this watch enabled, T-Mobile as well as AT&T. Now because of the integration with the Samsung Gear, I have it connected so I don't have it 100% standalone. When I click on my contacts here, you have a couple things, and I'll blur some of these things out. But first of all, you do have the ability to do a manual dial-in. So this is the dial-in dialer that you could use to initiate a phone call. I'll press the back button once. But you also have your contacts. So these contacts, you'll notice that it starts out with the favorites. The favorites are going to be those that have been registered on your phone as favorites, and they passed back to this very easily. You also then have the ability to search, so I'm going to tap on that, and what you can do, and we'll hit X, you can do a type ahead, or you can do also, what I like doing is I just using my voice. Now, in addition to looking at going through that route, I'll tap that again. Once you scroll through, here I'm going through all of my contacts, you'll go through all of the contacts that exist in your on your phone and now on your watch. So it's going to continue to be there. Some of this stuff is going to be blurred out because I want to keep some of the names I have here private, but it will alphabetically scroll through all of the ones that you have in your directory. Now the first thing I'm going to recommend is that you have auto call forwarding enabled. Auto call forwarding enabled is going to allow when the Bluetooth connection between your watch and your phone to get severed, for the watch to get all the calls. So it's going to automatically forward. Now if you do auto call forwarding and you also have the Gear connection, and we're going to go in this for a second, and you have remote connection enabled as well, what will happen is as you're replying to people using your watch, it'll be completely transparent to them and they'll believe that you're on your phone. So your text messages, everything looks like it's coming from the the phone, not the watch. Now, in order to have that work well, you do need to have that auto call forwarding enabled. And in order to get auto call forwarding enabled, there's an area here where I have my thumb where you'll have to put in the phone number for the watch for it to function. Now, an alternative, and this is something that I do quite often, as a matter of fact, it's kind of how I have mine set up. I do have the auto call forwarding enabled. I do have everything that I mentioned here so that it will work, and I'm going to demonstrate how it works. But what I also do is I have a Google phone number that is my primary number that everyone has, and I've registered both my watch and my phone to that number. So in the event that someone wants to get a hold of me, all of the devices that I have registered on my Google voice number ring on my devices, and I don't have to worry about call forwarding. I don't have to worry about number sync. No one really knows when I pick up the phone, be it my watch or the physical phone, that I'm using a different phone number, and that's all through the Google Voice functionality and the registration. And remember this, Google Voice is free, so it's something that I would advise. If you haven't looked into it, look into it now. So now to show you how this auto forwarding and this remote connection features work, what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable my Bluetooth. And by disabling Bluetooth, I want you to see what's going to happen on the watch. It's going to just take a couple seconds. And what you'll see is I immediately felt the vibration on the watch that it was disconnected. But what will happen is in a couple seconds, I'm going to get a message that's going to show up on my watch, and it's going to tell me that the remote connection has been established. We'll go ahead and give it a second for it to pop up. I'll wake up the watch just to make sure it didn't show up on the screen. And we'll bring this down. So right now you see that it's set to standalone, and what will happen is my wireless connection will be enabled. See how it came up. Now that the wireless connection was enabled and I'm connected via LTE, in a couple seconds it's going to do the remote connection, and I'll get that message as well. We'll just wait for it to happen. You can see that there's some communication taking place. Boom, connected remotely. Now, what that means is that any phone calls coming to my phone are going to get pushed to my watch. So think about these scenarios. You're in the gym, you're working out, you don't have your phone with you, you left it in the locker. You're going to get phone calls. You're in the gym taking a shower and you happen to have your watch with you. Not that you're going to answer the phone call, but if you get a text message or whatever, we're not going to go there. So anything that you're going to use your watch for, if they're separated, you're going to get your call forwarding. It's going to be remote connected. You won't miss any kind of communication, as you saw right there. And it does take a couple minutes to take place, or seconds. So you'll notice even the watch or the phone here is telling you that the remote connection took place, and that's because you don't want to enable this function if you happen to be in your home and you just walk over 30 feet away from your phone just for a couple seconds. So this is it's timed really nicely, and it works really well. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to simulate an incoming call. So let me go ahead and make a phone call. I'm going to just call directly the watch, and we'll see what happens, or how the watch responds. Let's go ahead and type that in, and now I'm dialing. So this is a direct call to the watch itself. And as I'm doing this, because the watch is right now in Bluetooth mode and it's not enabled, I just want to show you something. You notice up here, it's in Bluetooth mode, so that means that there's no cellular connection. You're not going to get a phone call. So that's the one important thing to understand, that if you do give this number out, you're not going to get a call to this phone number when it's connected via Bluetooth, because the cellular is not on. So remember that. And that's why I would advise for the Google number, or all you do is you use your phone number. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a phone call to this number, and you can see what happens. Right, so let's go ahead and now dial this phone number. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it's ringing. So now you see I have an incoming call. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer the call. All right, so I have now the call connected, and now let's take a look at some of the features that you're going to see here on the watch. First of all, what you can do is you can adjust the volume just by turning the dial. All right, so that's one thing that you'll be able to do. Now the other thing is you do have a mute function, so I can enable mute as I just did here. You also have some other functions here, so you can actually determine, and this is important for you to know, because if you're, let's say, driving your car and you do get a phone call, you can switch between the car mic and speaker system for the phone call and what's going on here on your wrist. So right now everything is controlled here, but you see how I have this option here for this headset? If I had a Bluetooth headset on, I could switch back and forth. So these are the controls that you'll use to switch from the phone to the headset or to your automobile. Also, let's say you're in one of those situations where you need to be able to press pound and a 1 because you're trying to join a conference call. What you could do is use that keypad to do that. And remember, you can use your back button to control all of the features. Now, as far as additional controls that you have, that's pretty much it when it comes to the experience. Volume controls, you can see how everything is connected here, and it has the time. You don't have additional details when you click on it. The only option you have at this point would be to hang up. All right, so now for this part of the video, what we're going to do is we're going to test the audio features as we're in call. Now keep in mind that you can have a Bluetooth headphone that's connected to the watch and your phone at the same time, and depending on which one picks up, your Bluetooth, your headset would pick that up, and you'd be able to control it via the watch. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to change the volume control, and I have my assistant is going to start counting to 10, and we can see how loud it gets.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right, that's it. All right, so now that you've seen kind of answering a phone call, kind of the audio volume that you have, let's look at another scenario. Now you're going to receive a phone call, but you want to be able to decline the call. What are some of the options you have? So here I have an incoming phone call, and I'm going to come up, and what I could do is I can just reject it by just typing and sending a text message back. Now one thing that I just wanted to mention that I did not find on the phone app is you don't, first of all, have the ability to do a conference call with more than one person. So in other words, you cannot dial a second number and then join them in using the watch. Now definitely that's something that you can do using your phone, but you can't do it. if you have another phone call coming in, you can put that phone call on hold. So you don't have to worry about those functionality, but there's no real joining of a second phone call using your wristwatch. Now, in addition to the widgets that you see here that you can just tap phone, you do have a real nice widget. I'm going to blur out some of the contacts on the video, but I'm going to just switch for a second so you can see. What you can do is you can actually create shortcuts with a picture, each one of your favorites or contacts that you'd like to have on the screen as a shortcut. So here I have my family, and it's very easy just to tap on their face or name and then get access to them. Now you do have, if we continue down toggling through, you could just add one contact on a page, but I prefer the previous one because you can have 4 at the same time. Now just to add anything to this screen is very, very simple, and you see that there's a lot of things that you have here. As you get to the end, you can add a widget, and when you add that widget, you can choose either to have an alarm, shortcuts, contacts, as we talked, and here you can see it could be either phone or email. The contacts that I showed you, which is the multi-contact, challenges, S-Health information, but with floors, heart rate monitor, and additional health things that you can install with your schedule and your calendar. In this case, I have Uber, so I can have an Uber on there as well. So a lot of flexibility and functionality available by just adding those. So I hope this addresses all the call questions you may have. If you have any comments or questions about this video, leave it in the comment area below. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. And as always, don't forget to share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.